Congratulations, you found the Twin Cities Hit Show.
Very well. Where do I begin?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Reach for this one.
And now, a real hit show.
People need to know that the shaking is not over. We'll get hit again. And it's going to be a bigger monster.
Live from the Twin Cities.
The earth will literally crack open.
Don't you quit on me!
It's the Twin Cities Hit Show.
We are going now!
Let's get this hit show started.
Well, it's not Monday.
Oh, no. It feels so Monday. I mean, it's like a wet blanket of Monday.
You just have to remind people that it's just a short work week. We'll power through. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody had really good and safe holidays.
You know, here's the bummer. The kids have no more full school weeks until fall.
Really?
Yeah. So there's that.
You'll have to tell me how that feels anyway, because my little boy goes to a charter school anyway, so it's Monday through Thursday anyway. So I'm like, So it doesn't matter. I'm stuck with him anyway.
Because when's school out for you guys?
Next Tuesday is the last day.
What district?
194.
What town?
Yeah, I'm like, don't use numbers.
Lakeville,
Okay.
Northern Iowa.
There we go.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Minnetonka. It's funny, their last day of school is like on a Monday, and they're going to go to Valley Fair. And I'm like, that is so weird. What? You're making everyone come back to school.
Just to go on a
so
field
you can
trip.
go to the amusement
To throw
park.
up. Hey, guys, it's the Twin Cities Hit Show with this guy. What's your name?
Paul Majors.
Okay, Paul Majors, and I'm Diana Pierce. I'm Chuck Gollum.
Hi.
And we're pegging high here,
Are we?
board operator, dude.
Who are you?
I'm Miss Shannon.
Oh,
Hi.
Shannon. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
So it was kind of a can you turn on my headset too? It's like I'm not even sure if I'm on. It was kind of a mellow weekend actually, as far as big news events. There wasn't a lot going on. We heard Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I have a VIP screening of his new movie San Andreas. Ooh. It's like
that.
Back in the day when I was a kid, it was the Towering Inferno and Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
There was even Earthquake with Charlton Heston, and this is like Earthquake times a million.
So it's another one of those apocalypse type.
Yeah, it's like what happens if the entire San Andreas Fault does go open up and kill everyone.
When
from
was the
San
last one?
Francisco
What was that ice? The one where there was the ice age hit all of a sudden. What was that one?
The day after or something.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah. They're all freezing midair.
Yeah.
And
I want to see this, though. I love that kind of stuff.
Well, especially now that technology, the CGI effects have come a long way since Towering Inferno and Poseidon Adventure and Earthquake.
And I'll pretty much watch The Rock in anything.
Yeah.
Well, I like him a lot.
Or out of anything. Hubba, hubba.
If I had an opportunity, I would not turn that down.
It's such a
it has not been offered to me.
He is so likable and has such a strong movie career. He's larger than life. Did you hear what he did over the weekend?
What did he do over
the
weekend?
He performed the ceremony for a junketeer, a guy that I've seen on the junkets before. This Nick Mundy is his name. Kind of a chubby, nerdy, uber nerdy guy who loves The Rock. And so over the course of many interviews, they've become chummy.
Yes.
And Nick, to his credit, very likable guy, very funny, always has a creative spin during his interviews. So they did strike up a sort of a relationship. Well, Nick is engaged to this woman who's like gorgeous.
And
Why do you sound so shocked?
Yeah.
If he has a great personality, that probably makes up for everything that you think looks nerdy.
My house is completely glass, as I describe, as I throw rocks in his direction. Yes. My wife is, way out of my league.
Your wife is hot.
Yeah, and then there's me. But anyway,
And then there's
Dwayne
me.
"The Rock" Johnson agreed to get certified as a minister and surprise Nick Mundy.
Oh, it was a surprise. I didn't know
It was
that.
a surprise. The of course his fiance knew about it, and the producers of his company knew about it. But here's a little bit of what happened when Dwayne "The Rock" surprised just a guy who loves movies. He's a journalist. Here we go.
All right, hey guys, Dwayne Johnson here, and I am here to surprise my good buddy, my main man, my G, Nick Mundy. I have teamed up with all my buddies at Screen Junkies, teamed up with his amazing and beautiful fiance, Delara, and we are going to prank it forward in ways that we're going to raise the bar in terms of pranking it forward. This is going to be amazing. Today, I am going to marry Nick Mundy.
Oh.
Let me clarify, to his fiance. So, I got a little surprise for you. And just when you thought the day was going to be terrible, it actually is going to be the greatest day of your life. Come on in.
So they go through these doors, and there's everyone. Nick Mundy's parents, all of his buds. The room is all decorated with flowers. There's
For me to do this. It's an honor for me to do this. It's completely legal. I am officially ordained by the state of California. Yeah, I go all out.
So he walks him
Nice.
down the aisle, and they perform the ceremony. Rock is the minister, and then he legally marries this journalist guy.
By the power vested in me, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, ordained by the state of California and the almighty universe itself, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Nick, you may kiss your bride.
I mean, that's going above
very
and
cool.
beyond as a guy who normally just gets 5 to 10 minutes with Dwayne, and Dwayne's like, over the years I've come to know this guy, he seems like, well, sure, I'll be his minister.
And you know what? He just was doing, because he's doing, of course, all the press for San Andreas, and you've heard a lot of stories from The Rock over the years. And one of the best stories I think is recently he came out and said that when he was 15, he was not cool. That he was huge back then, even like he was, You think of him now where he's all handsome, and it's great that he's a big guy and all that. But then he was saying that he was 15, but he was already like 6'4" and 200 pounds or something like that. And so nobody thought he was cool back then, and he just powered through it. And I think that that's a testament. I mean, because you said you've met him, and
very nice.
I that's how I think too. And people always go, well, maybe you don't really know. And I'm like, I've met him on a couple occasions. There's some people that you think are good at faking it, and there's some people that you think are just nice people and really appreciate the fact that they've been blessed with this career and that this is their job. And so he does seem to be so happy to be able to do what he does and hang out and do these kind of things. So that's very cool.
Well, there are studies, and I just going over this with my son because he's at that age where he's starting to figure out what kids are about. And there was a study out not that long ago about successful kids like the rock star jock, captain of the football team kid.
Right.
And that's the guy who at age 30, and this is backed by research, going to be overweight and basically doing nothing. And it's the people who had to work for it as kids, which is what we all kind of thought. But there's actually research to back it up. There's a big study on it.
Right.
Very, very interesting stuff. So, if he grew into who he is, well, look at Ben Patrick Johnson, one of our first guests, Janet. You weren't here yet. But another guy who, in high school, he was a tall, gangly, gay geek.
Yep.
No one liked him. He had not no one liked him, but he kept to himself.
You liked him.
I liked him. But he turned into a multi-million-dollar model, talk show host, voiceover guy. He does all our voiceover.
Finally, he reached the top when he became the voice of Twin Cities hit show.
Yes, that is on his resume.
Finally.
That's French for resume.
So over the weekend, the box office, typically it's much larger, but Disney did get on top with Tomorrowland. Made $32 million to be the number one movie.
But didn't make as much money as they thought it was going to make.
No, and way beyond any sort of records for Memorial Weekend. Here in town, it was kind of raining half the weekend.
Yeah.
I thought the movie theater, the multiplex, would be the place to go, and then now Texas is having record rainfall, but nope.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people went to the movies, evidently. Pitch Perfect came in second with $30 million, so just behind Tomorrowland. Mad Max number 3. Poltergeist opened this weekend.
I forgot about that movie.
The reboot.
So I was like, oh, wow, that movie's coming out again.
Who's in it?
Yeah, exactly. Who is in it? I don't know.
Okay, good.
No, I know the guy. I can't think of his name offhand. He was, what is his name? I can't think of his name. You'll have to
No
Google
clue.
it.
That's why I came in 5th.
And Avengers still made $21 million, so that's over $400 million so far here in the United States. But
my kids totally want to see Tomorrowland.
it's good.
Yeah, and I'd be like, Bree and I go way back.
I recommend it. If you saw me at WCCO on Friday, I gave it 3.5.
3.5
out of 4.
3 out of 4 Rustifers.
3.5 out of 4.
3.5 Rustifers.
Thoughts and prayers go out to Ben Stiller. His mom died over the weekend. The comedian Ann Mira, who I remember her with Ben's father, Jerry Stiller. When as a kid watching the Mike Douglas show or whatever, they would show up. Here's just a moment about who she was.
Let's remember the last moment we spent together.
I was asleep.
You run off with my paycheck.
Brooklyn native Ann Mira first hit the silver screen in the 1950s. She would become a household name after finding her partner in comedy, both on screen and off.
Hi. How you doing?
Mira married fellow comedian Jerry Stiller in 1954, and their career took off.
I'm Hershey Horowitz.
I'm Mary Elizabeth Doyle.
Stiller and Mira's real-life relationship was inspiration for their classic comedy bit about a short Jewish man dating a tall Irish woman.
With Dempsey's on my mother's side.
Dempsey.
Horowitz.
The young Jerry Stiller looks like Ben Stiller.
Isn't that crazy how much he's changed?
You look at...
In New York to commit suicide.
Anyway, she was.
So
80,
you know what Ben's going to
85.
look like now when he gets back.
Could be. Jerry didn't keep up the workout routine like I think Ben has. But
Yeah.
there you go. Ann Mira, she was 85.
Wow.
What's the number one song in the Billboard charts, do you think?
Something Taylor Swift.
No. No.
I was surprised because, like, most of the songs in the top 5, I couldn't pick out what the heck it was.
Really? Let's see. Tell me.
Number one is from the movie Fast and Furious. That's still around.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Which I like this song. I'm surprised that it's been on the 10 weeks on the chart.
Right.
And it finally hit number one.
Without you, my friend.
Sweets, right?
And I'll tell you
Powerful moment in the movie.
when I see you.
Little memorial to Paul Walker.
Yeah. One. Then there's someone called Fetty Wap. Do you know Fetty Wap?
I don't, but I might know the song.
It's kind of a.
RGF production.
I don't know. It's a rap song, but the lyrics are about love and drugs and money. And I'm like, I hope my kids aren't dancing to this one this summer. In the third position is the song from 50 Shades of Grey. And then that's Uptown Funk Song is still on the charts at number 4. And I'm like, really? Please go away. I've had enough of the Uptown
See, and I
Funk.
have not burned on that song yet. I like that one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still a Mark Ronson, Bruno Mars fan on that one. I haven't. I'll watch the video.
I hear this song and I'm like, I can't get to the dial quick enough. And I love
this song.
I don't mind it.
I am
hate
not burned
all
on
shit.
it.
And I like this song a little bit.
I am still not burned on this one. It comes on, I still want to get up. I'm dancing now.
I listened to it so much, I guess, back in January that now I'm like, enough!
See, and I had it on repeat, but I'm one of those people that it takes a lot for me to burn on a song, which is probably good that I work in radio because it takes a lot for me to go, I am sick of this.
Well, Jimmy Fallon did a funny thing just before the Memorial break. I don't know if you saw it. His hashtags on people who don't know lyrics. Here's, I think we're all guilty.
Misheard lyrics tweets from you guys. Here we go. First one's from @Christine Redding. She says, "Come together right now, hold the meat." I'm a vegan, vegetarian.
Hold the meat.
Here comes that flank steak. This one's from @Katie4105. She says, "I always thought the AC/DC song went, Dirty Deeds, Dungeon Feet." Dirty Deeds, Dungeon Feet. Dungeon Feet. Dungeon Feet. Dungeon Feet.
Yeah,
This one's from
I don't even know what that
Bill
lyric is for
Tommy.
real.
He says,
Done dirt
instead
cheap.
of more than a woman,
okay.
Dirty deeds.
Sure.
Done
Yes.
Dirt cheap.
Yes.
Dungeon feet is a real problem in this world, so I can see them.
Was there a song that you always messed up that you found
I probably mess up most of them, and I just don't care kind of thing. I'm like, I don't know the actual lyrics to a lot of songs.
Also on that show, Sting in a barbershop quartet. Did you
That
hear
was
that
awesome because they had been doing those characters before.
Put on that red, red light. Roxanne. Put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night.
Oh, I love it.
You don't have to wear that dress tonight.
He's got this big old beard now, too. Sting.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
giant beard.
If it's wrong or if it's right.
Big lumbersexual beard.
Sit on the red light. Don't put on the red light.
Anyway, that's fine.
See, a lot of people are still hating on Jimmy Fallon. I like him. I know that he's
It's
like
a bit. You got to go to his show knowing that it's just going to be fun shtick.
right, and that's what he does. And it's a lot of there's reasons why these things go viral. They're funny, or at least I think they're funny. A lot of people think that they're corny, but I do not agree with them.
Now, I think this would be a fun bit to do, barbershop quartet, while riding a pedal pub, right? Sing along, have fun.
Oh,
until somebody comes after you.
Pedal pub.
What happened? You sent me an email.
Oy vey.
Okay.
What day was this? It was over the
you
weekend?
Go ahead, Chuck.
What day was this? I think it was Saturday. Yeah, everyone knows what the pedal pub is. So I used to be a big pedal pubber dude. My friend Karen Cheeseballs on Twitter would often arrange these things, and we'd hop on the pedal pub and be obnoxious. I would personally leave my badge and gun behind and have drunken revelry with all my drunken revelrous friends. So on Saturday, there was a pedal pub cruising around. My special lady friend, who happens to live downtown, has been convincing me steadily that pedal pubs are really annoying. If you live downtown.
And why does she think they're annoying?
Well, if you live downtown, these things pedal by at like 2 miles an hour. It's like watching a snail sprint with everyone yelling and screaming and, woo, we're on a pedal pub. But if you live there, it gets really old every 2 hours to watch this thing in slow motion pedal by your house and everyone try to upstage themselves. So, or upstage everyone, I should say. So, Holly had actually yelled out at this very pedal
particular
pub.
one?
Yes, saying, hey, shut the F up. You guys are obnoxious.
Okay.
Which we often were. Yeah, very appropriate music.
Well, it sounds like there were some people that were even more annoyed than his Miss Holly.
Well, no.
Because what they did is that they found these pedal pubbers and they started a water balloon attack on them on Saturday. So this was like, there was a people that they got on bikes. Yes, so they got on bikes. They had their super soakers and their water balloons, and they went after a bunch of pedal pubs.
They didn't know the pubbers.
Well, no, they didn't know them, and so they actually, from what I read, it was. They got 2 pedal pubs, and there wasn't a bunch of drama. And then they got on their third attack. They happened to come across a pedal pub that was full of off-duty police officers.
And I got to back you up because this is important. So the police were aware of this because they had posted, and there's a local comedian guy that you may or may not know, Shannon. I won't mention him by name. They kind of organized this, and the police were aware of this.
Organized the ambush?
Yes.
So there was a big kind of anti-pedal pub movement, and there's an anti-pedal pub page. Where
there's a Facebook page that,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they organized around Lowry Park.
I heard the doorbell. But
you might have.
Is our door locked?
No, it shouldn't be. Hopefully our special guest will figure it out. So they actually organized these people at Loring Park to get together to ambush, and the police were waiting. So the police actually were hanging around, and they saw no activity, no one attacking pedal pubs for a while. So that was kind of how that started. And I'm just going to wait till Shannon kind of gets back up here.
Oh, wait. So there were uniformed police waiting to do some enforcement.
Yeah.
But the pedal pub that gets into trouble was filled with off-duty cops?
Yeah, the big one.
So there's off-duty cops and...
Yeah.
And were the cops on duty there to...
Yeah, well, the
because their buddies were about to get wet?
No, the on-duty cops were set to pounce on this should it happen. The off-duty cops happened to be... The on-duty cops gave up, okay, this isn't happening. We haven't seen anything. The on-duty cops, or the off-duty cops, were pedaling on a pub. They were from a different city. They happened to be from Burnsville. And they're out pedaling around, and all of a sudden...
So they weren't the ones who said, you better help us because we hear people are getting hit with water. Did they alert the Minneapolis cops, you better protect us?
Nope.
No.
They were just out
So there's a coincidence happening.
Yeah, there was a coincidence that... I'm sorry, I missed part of the story, but there was a coincidence that the off-duty cops
it just happened to be the on-duty element didn't happen to catch the pedal. These things are running there's probably 6, 7, 8 going around the Twin Cities at any given time, and they go about they go in 3-hour trips. So every 2-3 hours, there's a new batch coming through, and they happen to have a new batch come through, and here comes our group. Take over, Shannon.
Well, I mean, I think that as being someone who's been on a pedal pub only once, I know that I personally would not appreciate it if somebody came up and did a water balloon attack on me. But you can understand that there'd be some sort of retribution because even if you hate them, they're still legal right now. So you can't sit there and go, here's what I'm going to do, and then decide that you're still assaulting other people, even though they might be annoying people.
All right, the phone audio that we're going to play here now sounds like it's from Baltimore.
It does.
Videotaping that?
He's not doing anything.
The video shows people on the ground with guys like knees in the back of heads, lots of testosterone. I'll break your arm.
Yeah.
Lots of threats.
you hit him.
And this is because of water balloons and super soakers?
Well, I
Well,
mean, if
the
somebody,
issue- yeah.
I kind of see it like if I'm hanging out in a pedal pub and you can say I'm as annoying as you think I am, but I'm still doing what is technically
Legally,
legal, and you ride up on me and I tell you I'm going to call the cops, I'm going to call the cops. And in any situation, if the cops are called, you never know how aggressive they're going to be with you. You could sit there and say it's very funny, but, fine, your prank turned into you ended up getting arrested.
I am so on the fence on this on so many levels. Like I said, I used to do pedal pub. I would leave my gun, I would leave my badge behind, and I would get drunk, and I would be obnoxious, but I would be legal mostly.
Yeah.
I would be legal, and that's how that worked.
Right, and when
Okay?
I went on the pedal pub,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that it's a matter of opinion, but I don't think we were that obnoxious, and it
Yeah.
was just we won it in a charity
Right,
auction,
right,
and
right.
my friend's gay softball team and I all went on.
I grant you, of course, throwing water balloons is very immature and obnoxious in the super soaker. This, though, does not. I'll break your arm.
Well, I'm not
I
done.
mean, it's all. Yeah, go ahead. Chip.
The
it doesn't
argument
seem
is
to relate. It seems excessive.
the argument is that they assaulted the driver. They shot her in the face. She's controlled.
With water.
But she's
Still,
it's
you don't
dangerous.
get to do that.
It's-
I'd be pissed if
yeah.
I'm supposed to be driving something. You walk up and hit me. You don't get to do that to me. Period.
The definition of assault is an unwanted contact with someone, and water is contact. They assaulted them. Now, that being said, it's just water, and it's a prank. And these guys, 5 minutes before, pissed my girlfriend off because they were obnoxious, which would have been me in the same circumstance 3 years ago. However, so then the cops go, all right, we're in cop mode.
Right.
You're under arrest. And if you see the video, it's typical cop scene.
Right.
With, yeah, like you said, knees on the back of the
it's
head.
pissed off cop
Yeah,
dudes.
yeah.
That's what happens. So
Yeah.
I mean, imagine it if your job, Rusty. Let's say a bunch of people don't like movie critics, and you're on the red carpet, and they don't like what
Impossible.
you say about movies in general, and they think that being a movie critic is a pain in the butt, and they just ride up on you on their BMXs and start shooting you in the face, and you go, "Hey, if you keep doing this, I'm going to call the police." And then you call the police, and the police come and arrest them.
Yeah.
Oh well, their prank has now turned into
So
they
you're
go
saying
to jail.
you're saying they were asked to stop and
They were asked to
continued.
stop. They did it, and then they
Yeah.
end up getting arrested. And so that's the principle. And if enough people complain, then maybe
It
we might be
wasn't
able to shut down
water
pedal
balloon,
pubbers.
water balloon squirt, and these cops jumped off the pedal pub and started grabbing and pinning and
It was
testosteroning.
they're going on. This is the third attack of the day.
The cops
And
were
the
not
cops,
aware of the
the
other
cops,
two.
it doesn't
They
matter
didn't.
if you go
They're
up on
you
me.
hit me with a water balloon, and I'm
Get
a
'em.
tough guy.
I
And
agree.
I'm like, but
I'm
that's
a-
what you're doing.
I'm
Like you're.
drunk and I'm a tough guy, and now I got hit with a balloon,
I think
and I'm gonna
if I walk into this
knock you to the
particular
ground.
situation,
I'd be like, grow up, dude. It's just a joke.
No,
You
but-
know what? My assault is going to dry in about 10 minutes.
maybe not, but you don't know
Yeah,
that.
and that's the
exactly.
fun of the prank is you're doing it because you're getting a reaction. You're doing something that people don't expect, and the byproduct of that is something unexpected might happen, like might be a pedal pubber full of cops. That
Or
are like,
some big dude
"You
might
can't
just beat
touch
you
me."
up. You have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Kind
But
of
here's
thing.
the other issue, and again, I'm walking I keep jumping on either side of the fence. I probably know some of these guys because I used to work next door to Burnsville. Second of all, they're not on duty, and they're not in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
If they were in Minneapolis, they can arrest anyone for anything, anytime. They're in Minneapolis. They don't have power of arrest.
Okay.
So they're making arrests as citizens, but asserting their authority as cops. So that's an interesting piece, and they're probably all drunk. So that's the other piece. So and they can't walk the fence where they're obnoxious 5 minutes ago. My girlfriend sees these things all the time. For her to yell at them, that's a pretty big deal.
Because if there's enough public opinion, I think you can understand why they would probably control these more. Like the one time
Yeah.
I did the pedal pub, we were downtown, but they do have a route that goes in the northeast neighborhood where my little boy's school is, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because it is, why
North
would you be in a
Minneapolis.
neighborhood?
Did you say north?
Northeast.
Oh, God, I said north. I'm like, hey, white people on pubs. and they were
That would be quite the adventure for them. Good for them. And there are black people on. I was on the pub myself, so remember.
You're not. Oh, you're black.
So
God, I keep forgetting.
kind of thing.
Just kidding.
And we would have been quite
Were
the
you
spectacle.
black last week?
Every once in a while, I swap back and forth. It's like an IG Madrini episode. So
Shannon is a very black person.
I'm a sufficiently black person. Yes. But I mean, I am all for you go out there and protest how you want. But again, it's like when things go awry and then you go, well.
To me, the proper thing would have been to stop the fuck. Dude, it's not cool. We're calling the cops.
Yeah.
That was not cool.
That's
Maybe,
not how
but
cops
somebody
work.
else, and some other people
These
did
cops
that.
want to do, on the ground, I'm going to break your arm.
Okay, break the arm. Yeah. But that's not how cops work. And here's why.
Is that super soaker loaded?
You know, this is a bigger issue, granted. But
I'm sure they're like in front of their girlfriends, and they're like pumping
if
their
you get
chest
a little
muscles.
swole, look, if you're brave enough to go out
To
there
go after
and
a water ballooner?
if you're going,
He's
no,
my
I'm saying the
hero.
opposite. If you're brave enough to just swing up to ride up on these people with on your bikes, if you get caught and somebody gives you a beat down, then you got caught.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
see,
should
I don't
have.
think
You
a beatdown is.
should have gone away quicker.
I don't think a beatdown is in order there. I think seriously. All right,
Okay.
we're calling the cops.
The other thing, and I want to see this because I know there are studies that are going to come out based on all the police brutality allegations and what's going on in our society. But as a police officer, you are trained to react. And granted, control yourself, but I don't think they were completely out of control, absent knowing that they were drunk or knowing 100% sure that this is the pedal pub. They weren't out of control. They're trained to react. And someone attacks you, you do exactly
Chef,
what you're
why don't you-
trained to do.
Chuck, why don't you introduce our guest? Because he's sitting here nodding like he has input and he's furiously writing notes.
And you're live enough for this guy.
He went to the bathroom to fill up some water balloons.
This guy, Ralph Campbell, I'm calling you an addiction specialist for a number of reasons. But Ralph and I became acquainted because he currently works on the Hennepin County DWI court, which is a pioneer problem court that deals with addiction and alcoholism. And Ralph and I go way back, but he's an incredible guest.
Well, you're awfully nice to say that, Chuck. I believe you're a founder of that court, or you're really close to being a founder.
I think I am a close. Yeah.
Look at you used to do good stuff.
I know.
Now,
I used to care.
why
Chuck
didn't we
is
know
widely
you
admired.
then?
Yeah, exactly. Now you know the
Now
new Chuck, new and improved.
Now I'm just a douchebag.
I'm so happy that you have polka music going on in the background. Because I paid part of my way through graduate school playing polka music with the Mozinski Brothers Aleatoric Ensemble.
What
Sadly,
instrument do you play?
in the past.
That's whatever that. Yeah. I'm just curious, Ralph. Who are these two young ladies you brought with you?
Thank you. This is Haley and Tori. Haley and Tori are students.
Your bodyguards?
They are my guards. And that is why I arrived in such good condition. They
Are you
keep
wearing
me
guns?
safe. They have more than guns on them, Chuck. They are heavily armed
They
at all
have
times.
guns.
Yeah, they have those guns too.
Yeah.
They're so adorable. It's like giving me cavities. They're so cute right now.
Are you twins?
They're students?
They are not twins. They are students. Thank you. Yes, they are. They're students at Edina High, and they have a capstone program at Edina called May Term, and both of these students are doing their May terms right now. Haley has been shadowing me for over a week in the court system to see how we do things, and she has an interest in psychology, perhaps, in college. She's going off to college next year, of course. Tori is shadowing me today, and I'm grateful for it. They're very, very best friends from high school, also dear friends of my son's.
Oh, right on.
And Tori is, they both are members of the Edina choir, excellent singers, wonderful singers. But most importantly, these are great women, and they're going on to great things. And I'm very happy to be their friend, and I'm very happy that they're friends of my son.
Well,
he
we're
has
glad you're
created
here.
quite the high expectation for you young ladies.
They are something.
They're like, wow.
They don't have headsets, so they can't hear all the swearing going on in the music right now.
Yeah, they can't hear
they're
that
not-
part.
they-
But it's all in German, though,
Do you
Chuck,
guys?
so it's all right.
Yeah. Do you like? Do you love heavy, like death metal? Because that's what's playing in the headsets right now. Good. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to get Ralph on the show, and after the break here, we're gonna delve into who makes Ralph Campbell.
I was trying to find me in my shadow for you.
Thank you very much. That's classic.
Do you have to be on your best behavior knowing you're shadowed? Are you changing your routine, dude?
I'm going to ask them. I've been on my best behavior. I have not been.
This is supposed to be Frank and Sammy singing Me in My Shadow. There it is.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There's some
That's
shadowing
nice.
going on.
That's nice. Yeah.
I feel like
that swings.
Shannon, if you could combine us, it would be Sammy Davis Jr., the black Jew. That we don't know if he's black or Jewish. We don't know what's going
That's
on.
okay. That's all right. A nice blending.
Yeah.
Nice blending.
Chuck is
All
very
right.
proud to be Jewish.
Did we resolve? Are we done with the pedal pub?
I
There
don't
will be
think we've
no
even-
resolution
we've
right now. We'll
scratched
just
the
see what
surface.
happens.
Yeah.
So,
It's not done. This is going on. It's all over the news. Every
Yeah.
media has a different take on it, and I'm talking not editorial take. media outlet has a different take on what actually happened.
Right.
So, yeah, the police chief in Burnsville's involved. The police chief in Minneapolis is involved.
Any police officers suspended or anything?
No, Giesecke, the chief of Burnsville, got on the news yesterday, and he said that all his, or not on the news, but he was quoted, I think Fox 9, saying that all his officers are on active duty, and they're going to see what happens. So.
And is the pedal pub thing being threatened then? Is there a conversation to end it?
Not at all. In fact, the pedal pub president and staff got on saying that they were aware of some credible threats. They had done what they could to take care of it, and this shouldn't affect operations.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah. I will put the YouTube link up so you can have your own opinion. I'll put it on our page today.
I would like to do a pedal pub armed with super soakers.
Oh, gosh.
Spray the people as I go.
I want to flake it with off-duty cops.
I don't want to encourage that because some people just don't know when to stop. Obviously, we've learned from this weekend.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so yeah, we are coming up to, let's see if the computer will work. We're coming up to our break time here. So when we come back, what will we talk about then? We're
going to ask Ralph about talk addiction in general, and I think we're going to talk a lot about the foundation of the DWI Court in Hennepin County, which is a pioneer.
All right, we'll be right back.
The Twin Cities Hit Show. We'll be right back.
Don't let your computer problems drive you mad. We are MacMen, Minnesota's premier tech consultants and problem solvers for Macs, mobile devices, troubleshooting, training, and much more. No more dragging your computer all over town because we come to you. We love making house calls to your home or small business. MacMen. Call 612-345-8005. The Alive and Social Network is alive and growing. From the best in sports, music, movies, and beer, Alive and Social is what all the cool kids click on. Featuring characters like radio rebel Jeff Dubay, Star Tribune pundit Jim Suhan, Unfiltered, and television veteran and handsome man Rusty Gatenby. You can also taste the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly. Join the band with live band karaoke night from legendary O'Gara's in St. Paul and the live music showcase from Shamrocks. Yes, Alive and Social Network does indeed rock and roll. The Jeff DeBay Show, Jim Suhan Unfiltered, the Rusty Gatenby Review, the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly, live band karaoke, and Shamrock's live music showcase. Join the fun. Be alive and social with the Alive and Social Network.
The Rusty Gatenby Review is the entertaining show about entertainment from movies, music, and more. Award-winning TV guy Rusty Gatenby and his review is the podcast with the biggest cast in entertainment, part of the Alive and Social Network. You can get that Minnesota connection to Hollywood and beyond any time of the day or night simply by clicking on the RustyGatenbyReview.com. That's the RustyGatenbyReview.com, part of the Alive and Social Network.
You're listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show. Say it 3 times fast. We just dare you.
Ralph is dancing in the studio.
I know. I love to dance. I love to dance on my chair.
This whole thing is so Ralph.
This is just... I'm in heaven right now, Chuck. This is awesome, Rusty.
Yeah, so Ralph, tell us about... Now, what got you so interested in addiction? And what would you call your title? All the years I've worked with you, I've made up my own bullshit titles for you. I don't know what you actually do.
And I've always used the titles you've given me, Chuck. They're better than the ones I have, actually. I'm actually a licensed addiction counselor in the state of Minnesota. As a police officer or a broadcaster, I have a license I carry it around.
Prove it.
I wish I don't have it with me right now. I was just thinking as I said that, I'm in trouble just for even saying that. And I work at the DWI court two capacities. On the way in, our clients who have been referred by their attorneys come to us, and I do a little song and dance about what our court is and whether it will make sense for them. We try to work that out. And then later on, if they have trouble, if they're relapsing, if they're getting sideways with the program somehow and they're looking at some serious jail or prison time, I step in again and try to divert that, figure out what's going on so we can make their lives a little bit better. And, jail is not treatment. And you've said that about 100 times, Chuck, at meetings you and I have been at. So we both agree with that. So that's what I do. I'm working.
Is the tide turning? Are we as a society getting that message?
We're winning. We're winning. We're
winning.
We are. What we're doing is we're seeing many, and thanks for the question. That's a great question. We're seeing that many of the key indicators of well-being are going up, and that is good news. But we still have 1 in 5 people who die on a Minnesota road are affected by a drinker. Either the driver was drinking or something happened involving alcohol, and now we have a dead person. And we obviously want that number to go down to 0. But 1 in 5 is better than it has been.
There's no country in the world that has a 0 rate, though, is there?
No, but
no one's got it figured out 100%.
Some are close.
Some are pretty close.
Okay.
And part of the deal, as we've seen, and you're probably aware that in Europe, you can have one DUI and lose your license for life.
Okay.
And
really,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because when I think Europe, I just think it's party on, drink when you're 10,
get a cab.
That's
the key. Get a cab.
Get a cab. Get another way. And the drinking when you're 10 actually is a protective factor. What we find with many people who begin to drink younger as part of a family setting, maybe it's part of dinner, maybe it's part of a family ritual of some sort. Those are people that tend to be less inclined to become chemically dependent.
Is it because
so get your kids drunk is what Ralph is saying?
I think that is the opposite of Ralph saying. Are you saying that sometimes in some of these societies it actually helps because they are trained to drink responsibly?
Absolutely.
That it's not such a taboo. It's not something that you're doing to show that you're being rebellious or something like that. Okay,
it's
that
part of
makes
playing
sense.
ball with the team. You're in your family. Your family does this. Nobody's getting drunk, and it's just part of what we do with dinner. A good wine. Maybe Dad makes the wine. Maybe Mom makes the wine, and we're drinking that, and it's part of our family.
So alcoholism rates are not higher in European countries.
They tend to be not higher in countries. But here's the important thing to remember, perhaps, is that it's about 1 in 10 people. Depending on the study that you look at, it'll be 8 in 100 up to 15 in 100, but right around that 10 in 100, 1 in 10 individuals at any given time is in serious trouble with alcohol, meaning they're either in jail or in prison because of a criminal offense, or they're really, really struggling at work, or maybe they've just lost their job, or they picked up a DUI, but there's a serious problem with alcohol in their family, with them. It's about 1 in 10, and they in turn are directly influencing between 4 and 10 other individuals that are, substantially influenced by the alcoholism. In fact, we view alcoholism not as a pathology of individuals. It's not an individual illness. It's an illness at the family level. So when everybody in the family, and I include dogs.
Right.
And I'm not a cat person, but I'll bet the cats are also
My cat would be devastated if I had a problem.
They know when something's up. They know when something's up.
Well, so Ralph, talk about the and I've talked about it a little bit. I've touched on it, and I've given the speech, but I'm curious how you give the speech. Tell us what's different about the DWI court model versus a traditional punishment model.
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Chuck. Well, we're a problem-solving model, meaning that we have a problem we're trying to solve, and our problem is drinking and driving. We're trying to separate the two, and we treat our clients as clients rather than defendants. They do walk in the front door of the court as a defendant, but soon enough we start referring to them as clients. We get them referrals to treatment. They go to treatment programs, one very close here, which is the Park Avenue Center, great treatment center in our state. We also provide lots of supervision from probation so that they're visiting with probation maybe once, twice, 3 times per week, at least initially. They're getting drug tested constantly. Police officers, and Chuck, you were one of those, would go door to door to our clients, make sure that they're not drinking, not using drugs, and they're coming downtown to our lab, and they're dropping UAs there. They're checking in with the judge initially once per week. They're in doing a judicial review. They're in a courtroom.
And that support system probably does helps a lot. And I mean, you're going to have those situations where you have somebody that's more like in a chronic inebriate situation where maybe you can't actually affect change. But if you can help them with this lifestyle change and give them the support that they need, it probably catches some people before it becomes so detrimental to their entire family.
Well, you're hoping so, aren't you? I mean, our hope is that ultimately, Shannon, we have people restored to their families, restored to their jobs, restored to their kids. To me, I've got a real soft spot there. I grew up in a family which was heavily affected by alcoholism. My mother, a United States naval officer, a combat Navy nurse in the Second World War. I mean, a real war hero. Came back from that war and was drinking and died from alcoholic cardiomyopathy when she was 58 years old. I mean, a very powerful woman, an officer, a real war hero, World War II. My father died
It
also.
affects everyone.
Everyone's affected. I grew up in a home. I don't know anything. I don't know anything, Shannon, other than heavy drinking.
Right.
In my home, that's normal drinking in my home is you get a quart of scotch and you drink it.
Right.
During the day.
Yeah.
You just drink that. You drink that bottle of scotch during the day or vodka or whatever it is. And Chuck, you had asked what got me into this. That got me into this.
Right.
Being around that so much. And I myself suffered from varices, which is esophageal bleeding from a tremendous amount of drinking, nearly died from that. So I myself am affected by it also. To shift just slightly back to the court is that our court is really, really aimed at treatment, at getting people, as I said, restored to the family, and most importantly, their kids, and getting back into that community. We try to, much as we can, to create a community of recovery.
Okay.
And that includes, maybe it's church, or it's a synagogue, or it is a mosque, or it is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or it's Celebrate Recovery. It's something where there is a community of recovery, because the court's going to step back.
Yeah.
And the police are going to step back, and probation is going to step back, and we all want them to step back. And they will do that in 18 months' time. It's an 18-month-long program with perhaps another 2 years of probation, depending on what the legal situation was up front. But we want people in the community and being coaches for their kids' teams and showing up to the concerts and everything else that we as parents, want to be doing, and as alcoholics, we don't quite get around to doing.
Do you think that community aspect actually helps them in the long run? If you have, for instance, if we're calling you an addiction specialist, is it having that something else to, if you're have an addictive personality, something else to addict to, basically? Like, is it a church? Is it AA? Is it something like else? Do you need something to focus on?
Right.
With support.
It's and Chuck's right. You're both right. Support is very, very important as far as getting back to an addictive relationship with church or with dog shows or whatever it ends up being. I think dog shows are sober, of course.
They could be.
Not my dog shows.
Rusty's dog shows are.
Some of the dogs are hammered.
Yes, the dogs are hammered in Rusty's dog shows. The interesting tricks. Oh, there's one of them now. Coming up. We don't want a person to go into the community and then become addicted to something where they start ignoring their children because of the dog show.
Right.
and as everyone in this room certainly knows, you can develop a very dangerous relationship with just about anything.
Right.
And if you do that and start ignoring those things that are really important around you, you still got big trouble. Now, it might not be killing you. It might not be alcohol or crack or heroin or something like that. It might not be killing you, but ultimately, you're going to be in serious trouble. And all of those, you're going to do something, most likely, in my experience of this, that's going to draw either a medical intervention or a legal intervention. You are going to do something with your new gambling addiction that is going to get the police
cigarettes,
involved.
A lot of folks.
Cigarettes is huge, and as you know, there's a huge correlation between people in recovery and smoking.
Yeah.
There isn't a treatment center anywhere that doesn't have a ton of signs, smoking area this way, and lots of, they really are highly correlated.
Well, what Ralph, the success rate of DWI court is incredible.
Yeah, we're very proud.
Given, it's probably we had when I first got into DWI court in Hennepin County, we had maybe 6 people relapse. Now, bear in mind, in Minnesota, there are 40,000 DWI arrests every single year. 1 in 8 drivers is driving around with a DWI on their record, and probably those specialized plates. I think it's 1 in 8 drivers has had at least 1 DWI, has had 2. So the numbers are huge, and this is the high-risk population. Typically, DWI court, they won't take felonies.
Okay.
They didn't until recently. Now they do. But they took people that were the most likely to reoffend, that 10%. And to have, at the time when I got in, we had like 6 reoffenses. Some were really bad, too. But and the numbers are still low, very low. it's a proof that this treatment model works.
Okay.
And just one quick thing about me. So I got into DWI court as a police officer. I worked very closely with the DWI court in probably 3-4 years when I was in charge of Bloomington's traffic unit. And then shortly after retired, I worked a stint in as a probation officer in DWI court. So there are basically 5 different roles you can have. You can be a judge, you can be a police officer, you can be a probation officer, you can be a counselor or addiction specialist, or
you could be probation, you could be a treatment center provider, you could be a public defender, you could be a prosecutor. The DWI court team is varied.
Yeah, and I got to wear 2 hats. To me, is just one of the greatest honors. And just
So this is just Hennepin County at this point, or
we are.
Okay?
Yeah. That's right, Shannon. We're in 4th Judicial District, which roughly coincides with Hennepin County. We're the largest DWI court in the state. We have, I'm very happy to say, inspired other DWI courts around our state. St. Paul actually came in before we did.
Okay.
But other places, Duluth and other DWI courts around our state, sometimes combining many counties into one because the populations are small. In general. So you've got judges that are driving many miles to manage those courts.
Jeez, okay.
In the United States, we currently have over 600 DWI courts.
Wow.
Our court is one of 4 academy courts, which means that we've been selected by our professional association to be a teaching court. People from all over the world come to our court to see how it's done, to get pointers on how to start their own courts. We reach out. We believe that the best intervention against drunk driving right now is these DWI courts, drunk driving courts, whatever the heck you want to call these courts. Our recidivism rate, and Chuck knows this, he mentioned it, we're under 5% and we're dropping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're
But if you get arrested, you don't get to say, I want to go to this DWI court I heard about.
You actually do.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, how
Rusty,
do you
you actually do. What you would do, and I'm really, this is a great question. We are hoping, and this is one great way to get the word out is through your great show. What we're hoping is people who are arrested with DWIs will say to their public defender or their attorney, I've heard there's this DWI court. Isn't there an option to jail? We would love it if they would, explore, take a look at us, come down, look at our program. Right now, we are not at our limit. We're one of those situations where, of course, we can't choose how things are going.
Right.
But currently, we have capacity. That changes maybe in 6 weeks, but currently, we do have capacity we're about 120 at our full capacity. But yes, a person can say, I would really like to look at this court. I'd like to pursue treatment. I would really like to try to change things right now. And Chuck was a big part of this. When our court was new, as he mentioned, we were having relapse issues. It was a big problem. This is before I got there, and Chuck was a part of fixing this. We now have put in place many, many interventions within the court program itself that we can steer people away from those relapses, certainly away from drinking and driving. That is very rare. Now in our court for a person to do any drinking and driving while in our court program or even after. So yes, a person can say, whoa, can I take a look at this DWI court? They'll see my happy face. I'll say, come on in here. Come on in the back. I take them in the back. They get a little nervous about that. But we go in the back and we sit down and we talk about this. And I'm going to confess to you, and I shouldn't. I want everybody to come into our court.
Yeah.
And let's stop this. Let's stop the drunk driving.
I've steered people, many people, both that I've arrested back when I was a cop, acquaintances who got into addiction and beyond into this. Now, it is a commitment. When you say I'm going to DWI court, you're saying 18 months that court owns you. You're saying,
wow,
I have a sentence hanging over my head, but I admit I want to get better, and I admit I want to fix this. And you sign all your case over for 18 months. And that means if you reoffend, you are going to execute your full sentence of 18 months. So if you get a DWI, 18 months in custody, that's a pretty harsh sentence. The trade-off is that you aren't spending that time up front. You're promising that you're going to get better. It's a very intense program. The first week, or the first phase of DWI court, you're going to court probably Hennepin County Courthouse 4 or 5 times a week. You're doing UA drops. You're doing you're on the color wheel. Yeah.
UA drops?
You're dropping
Translate.
urine.
Oh, okay.
It's observed, too, which is, pretty intense.
Yeah, making sure that you have clean UAs.
It's your pee.
Okay.
Wisconators and all this other stuff. There is nothing that our UA guys haven't. You're not going to get away with going in there and trying it all.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those take some tea or something or something like that or all those wives' tales that you hear.
Nope.
It isn't going to work. It may work, Shannon, in some UA situations. It's not going to work in ours. Our UA, and it sounds like we're bragging, but our people are trained constantly. It is considered, our UA department is considered one way a person can come into the county, move on to be a probation officer. So we're getting people that are highly motivated. They want to do the job right, college degrees, they get it. And they also are high in compassion. They understand who they're dealing with. I mean, these are not just, any old guy walking in the door. These are people trying to get it right through the system, turn their lives around, change it, and move forward.
Not somebody that's just trying to game the system. It's somebody that actually wants to get better.
If it's your first offense and it's at a very low level, just over the alcohol limit,
sure,
your program is potentially way more difficult than just dealing with that first-time offense.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
We are way too much intervention for somebody with 1 DUI. We are probably too much intervention for somebody with 2 DUIs. Our minimum is 3.
Wow.
Unless you're 2 with children in the car or a great big blood alcohol content, 0.2, 0.25, 0.3. Okay, now we're interested.
Okay.
But
there's another criteria. Shopping cart caught underneath your car chassis is also one.
Yeah, we've added that.
What if it was only a couple of blocks?
Come on.
No, there's a block test too. Actually, it's got to be 5 or more blocks and 1 shopping cart or more.
But if there's a gas
you lose a career,
the thing as well, then
if the cop is still hanging out your window when you arrive,
right?
I'm just dumb. I'm like, I'm not even drinking. I'm just dumb and
Shannon,
forgot to get the gas pump out.
For TWI.
Yeah, that happens all the time too. That doesn't do it. That's why it's got to be the shopping cart test.
Exactly.
Gas pump test is
you can't count that.
Yeah. So, but your first phase, you're dropping UAs. You're meeting with PO at least once a week.
Yep.
You have Thursday or Friday court, depending.
Yep.
You have men's group or women's group. You have 3 AA meetings every single week you have to attend. This is phase 1. This is a full-time job, so it's not for the weak of heart. You're trading in your life for that 18-month sentence hanging over your head, but you're saying, I have a problem, I want to get better. And we are pretty quick at weeding out the bullshit and knowing who's not part of this program and who's just doing it to get through their
our
stuff.
meters are finely tuned. We do. We see people coming in who really want to get out of the jail time. That's what they're looking at. They don't care about the treatment or anything. We beg them not to come in. But they do, sometimes. And what we say, and I think this is a Chuckism from way back, that if you come in here just trying to dodge your jail time, you're going to do more jail time, and you're going to do it on the installment plan.
Okay.
And so it's going to suck even worse than what you had before. It's terrible.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the cops, and this is the hard sell on the cops because cops hate this stuff. But we'd have the cops go out and knock on their door at 2 a.m. Random PBTs, portable breath test.
Yep.
Knock, knock, knock. Hey, good morning. It's 2 a.m. here blowing this.
Jeez.
And you sign up for that, and they could show up anytime. They could
Yep.
show up 3-4 times a night. They
Yep.
could maybe show up a couple times a month. Doesn't matter. But it's that extra little unknown piece that keeps people in check. Because between the UAs and meeting with your PO and all the court
Because if
dates,
you know you're not going to have it, you're like, you can squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you would be surprised, especially when I was involved on the law enforcement side, how many people we would catch doing this.
Yeah.
So.
And then you're done? That
Nope.
one mistake?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
No. And Rusty's got all the great questions.
Yeah, he does.
And Shannon's got all the great comments.
Mm-hmm.
And, so why are you here, Chuck?
Chuck.
Drops mic, pours drink.
He keeps refreshing our drinks. I was wondering if that explains that. Yeah, no. You're certainly not thrown out. It's a great question. We know that for many individuals who are newly sober, it's hard to change everything. When I was newly sober, I drank in my bar Bunny's. I went to Bunny's every single day.
Okay.
Good place.
We love Bunnies, and I'm talking old Bunnies, Rusty, old one. And so, every single day I went there, and I did my thing at Bunnies, and, now I'm not drinking, and I'm not going to Bunnies, and whatever am I going to do? Well, you got a couple options. One thing, as Chuck mentioned, we try to keep people busy, so they've got other stuff to do when they're not at their bar or whatever they're doing. The second thing is, let's say, there's a slip here or there, and that we do have somebody who drinks. We right away address that, and we have two kinds of ways we address things. One thing is what's called a therapeutic answer, the therapeutic response, and then there is a correctional response. The correctional response for one instance of drinking is probably going to be 4 hours of additional sentence to serve, which is the leaf raking, ice chipping program through Hennepin County.
Right.
Or it's going to be community service, that you're going to do that at the Salvation Army or someplace. It's correctional, but it's got a little bit of goodness in it too,
right.
Back into the community. And then we have the therapeutic thing where we're going to sit down with your counselor and say, gee, we had a relapse. Is there a little thing we could tweak here or there? Not too serious. It's those patterns. When we see that pattern of getting, snarky and starting to get back into addict thinking and all that jazz, that's when we really sit down and let's get serious. And now we may have to reevaluate completely, do another entire, 2-hour evaluation of
Come
an
up with a
individual
different course of action.
And totally re-steer the aircraft carrier in a new direction.
The makeup of the court, the demographics are incredible. When I was a probation officer, ex-cops, lawyers, members of the community. Just people with upstanding jobs down to recent immigrants, people without jobs. It's just, and all these people sit in a room together and become friends in each other's support system. It's so incredible to see these people become good friends and really do exactly what we're looking to do and pair them up and make sure you have a support system beyond alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
and I'm glad Chuck said that. For so many people, alcohol is a friend. It is not this stuff in a bottle that, when Aunt Mary looks at alcohol, it sits on her shelf, except at Christmas it comes down, we'll have a little glass of sherry.
Right.
That's not what this is. There are people for whom alcohol is their buddy. This is the only thing that they've ever been able to depend on every single time and always came through for them, Shannon,
right.
every time. And now we're saying, that best friend, that best friend's killing you, that best friend's putting you in jail, we got to step back from your best friend.
So I have a few questions for. And now I've recently, as many of you know, tried to take up smoking and failed. So if I'm looking to get into alcoholism, I'm looking to take up drinking. What can I do, Ralph?
Do you want to be an alcoholic?
Yes.
You'd like to be an alcoholic?
I'm all in.
I'd really. You finally asked a good question. I really. This is. It took
there
a
are
long time.
so many things that you could take up as hobbies that would be so much better hobbies.
Better than that, but
that's an expensive hobby.
I tried getting my feet wet with smoking, and I tried it. I started with e-cigs. I figured I'll ease my way in with e-cigs and get my way to straight Pall Malls. And nothing. And I've told people over and over, I'm gonna take it up, and no one believes me anymore. So I don't even bother telling people.
As a cop, I always thought most bars at about midnight, you could have 50 to 100 DWIs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
If you wanted, you could line up. Random bars. Let's line up paddy wagons at this bar tonight, and we're going to get 50 to 100 DWIs right now.
People drive hundreds and hundreds of times before they ever get Chuck's attention.
Yeah. I used to organize a county-wide enforcement group where every department in Hennepin County, well, there were 14 signed up, but 14 departments donated officers, and we would get on the news, and we would put up billboards saying extra enforcement tonight on this road.
Is that true, or is that just scare?
No, this is
No,
true.
I remember seeing those signs.
They still do this.
Yes, and I would take 14 cops from every city donating, and we would go hit Minneapolis, or we'd go hit Bloomington, or Orono, anywhere in Hennepin County. 14 cops with all these different logos on their police cars. We would drive around the bars in circles, let them know we are out here tonight. Do not drive. Do not drive. Oh, I got one.
And I remember when they started publicizing the fact that when the cops would pull you over, they would ask you where's the last place you were drinking.
Yeah.
And so then the bar could get in trouble as well, because if they had too many people, and especially if somebody is drunk, they can say whatever. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there were certain bars that got targeted more because they had a preponderance of people saying, I had my last drink at X, Y, and Z bar. Yeah. So that, they got a lot tighter about whether they were serving you after a certain time or not.
A lot of people come into the bar already drunk. But
right. But that's where they got their last drink, so you gave them one as well.
Do you know, are you familiar with Judge James Dean up in Itasca, Santee area, rather?
I don't know Judge Dean, but I'm going to know Judge Dean because we're going to a training next week. So Judge Dean. I'll say hi to him for you, Rusty.
Yeah, well, he's a good friend of mine. He was one of the few people who reached out to me when I got my DWI.
Okay.
And he's got a safe cab program that is now they're trying to spread throughout the country. The county up there offers taxpayer pay for it, and the beer distributors,
wonderful.
They pay for a free ride home.
Wonderful.
All year round.
That's
Not just on New Year's Eve, not just on a special event. All
not
year
St.
round.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and they've seen their DWIs drop 60%.
Poor 'em. 60%
In
drop
the
is a
county.
very
'Cause they're making it
substantial.
easy
That's
for
a-
'em.
Well, and up there,
60% is a huge number.
public transportation in Sandy County they're not known for their public transportation. So giving options to people is huge.
It's the innovation.
Yeah.
I mean, we're down to a point now where, look, at people are going to drink, then they're going to drive. They're going to do that. So our best thing we can do is to reduce that. And these are the kinds of programs that are aimed exactly at that. Let's take the world as it really is. People are drinking and they're driving, so let's get in there. We're not going to interfere with the drinking. Let's interfere with the driving.
That's
Give us
awesome.
a
It's
cab.
funny too because I've never had to blow. I've never had an issue.
Yeah.
54 years
Yep.
in the neighborhood.
Yep.
After that happened, after I finally said and evaluated myself, do I need treatment?
Yep.
What is my habit? What is my issue? When you lose a job because of drinking, that's time to say, let's take some inventory here.
Big consequence.
It was a $7 Uber that ended my
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
tenure.
Yeah.
$7. That's
Doesn't
what it
that
was.
make you think though as well? Like whenever I see like somebody like a celebrity, like a Hollywood celebrity, or even like we look at.
Are you discounting my celebrity? Is that what you just did?
Yes, that is exactly what I just did.
Man.
But I also
think of him as a
discounted my
Hollywood
celebrity as well. So I mean, if I had been in the paper, you'd be like, "Wow, there was nothing going on," kind of thing. Like, why are they
I
talking
was
about her
in the paper.
Yeah. So, but I'm talking like, let's even he's a hot mess on a bunch of different levels. But like Flavor Flav just got arrested again in Vegas, and he had and he was under the influence and speeding and all this stuff. But it really bothers me when I see somebody that has the wherewithal to not be driving,
Yeah.
and they drive anyway.
Yeah.
when
I
they're
didn't
in
think
that
I
one.
was drunk, and I was in the neighborhood. I'm
Okay.
like, oh.
See, that makes sense. Okay,
I
get that.
mean, I would never drive drunk because I knew I've got a career here. And
Right.
I was like, I'm in the neighborhood. I think I'm fine. And then I didn't stop completely. At a stop
Right.
sign.
Mhm.
Then the lights flashed, and you're like, hold on.
I guess I am.
How much did I actually have?
Right.
No, when I blew, I was like, rolling the dice. I'm like, I don't know.
Wow.
Am I over?
Okay.
Quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we all
Rick,
know
you
the
had to
rest
try
of the
it.
story.
Yeah, so I mean, it's proof that it can happen to anyone. So it's nice to know that there are safeguards, and hopefully you catch it after the first time. If you don't, then there's
Uber is my friend now. Even one beer, I'm like, I don't even care. If I'm gonna, I either won't drink, or
Right.
even if I have one beer, I'm not driving. I'm never gonna be put in that
No,
situation
and he won't.
ever again.
I've been out with you on many occasions.
Yeah. Up at the fishing opener, I did.
Yeah.
Not driving.
Yep.
If we're gonna have beer, not driving.
He's a
Fair
good
enough.
boy. Do you hear that, Your Honor? He's a good boy. So, Ralph, how can we...
Oh, I'm done with all my stuff. My stuff was relatively quick and painless.
news.
So
Yeah, good
hearing
news.
your story, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, there's no way I could sign up for your program.
No.
mine was a piece of not a
Exactly
piece of
right.
cake. Mine was a
Exactly.
an ordeal.
I tell people we're the cancer court. I tell people, look at Grandma had cancer, and you were with Grandma, and she got lots of chemotherapy. No one goes to the hospital and says, look, my grandma had chemotherapy. I'd like to try some to see what grandma was
Right.
doing. No one in the world, no matter how much we love grandma, and I love grandmas. I'm a big grandma fan.
Mm-hmm.
No one would do that. Well, we're the chemotherapy
She's a
court.
partier.
You do not come into our court just to test out what treatment might be like
Right.
or what this. No.
Right.
1 DUI, no way do you want to be in our court.
Yeah.
2, probably not. 3, we're getting there. And as Chuck said, we're now taking felonies at 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
DUIs, yes, by all means, let's turn this around. Let's change this
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
So
So how can we get a hold of you if we need to, or
Well,
someone
get
in
4
court?
DWI.
Yeah.
get 4 and give me a call.
If we want to be proactive before we run over the shopping cart,
Yeah, well, I mean, you can always get hold of the DWI court where it's online. And I'm embarrassed now, Chuck. I don't know the exact number, but we are on the internet at.
We should link it up. After
You
the
just
show.
Google.
Yeah.
All you do is Google 4th Judicial District DWI Court or Hennepin DWI Court or anything or Minnesota DWI Court, and you'll find us right away. And we're easy to contact. There's a phone number there. You can get us there. You can email the judge directly. If you want to. The
Judge Meyer is
Judge
amazing.
Carrie Meyer.
Yeah.
Judge Carrie Meyer is not our founding judge. Our founding judge is Judge John Holohan, who retired a couple of years ago, almost 2 years ago now. But Judge Carrie Meyer stepped up in a just enormous way. We're thrilled with Judge Meyer. She understands alcoholism and addiction. She understands, obviously, how the court system works. She understands how people can go from one thing to another thing. They can go from someone who's crazy, driving drunk, possibly going to kill somebody, to somebody who is, a soccer coach,
Right.
showing up for their kids. And she's seen that happen, and she knows how it
Robert
works.
Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You had mentioned Hollywood, and I'm so happy you mentioned Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is one of those people that everyone loves. You will never find anyone who doesn't love Robert Downey Jr., and he's out there saying to the world, yes, you can beat this. Yes,
Yeah.
you can do this.
Yeah.
And his own family has its struggles. And I'm going to mention, that he just. What I really love most about him is that when he gets out there and he's doing his deal, a lot of humility there.
Right.
He's telling us that, look at, yes, I'm Robert Downey Jr., but when it comes to this side of my life, we're in the same game, we're in the same canoe, and we're just trying to get through this together.
Yeah. Well, and also, I'll throw this out. I try to pretend I'm a douchebag, but I do give a crap. So, seriously, if you're listening to this show and you want resources, by all means, reach out to me. I'm here to help and direct you towards the professionals. There's a lot of help out there, people. God, this got serious.
It's fine, though. It's good serious. It's positive serious.
Shannon, I need help.
You need help for other reasons.
Yeah, it's broken point.
I hired as a pedal pub. Yeah, it's going to take me home.
Yeah.
So you got the polka music going again.
Yeah. So we've
That's
learned a
me on
lot
the
of
tuba.
We've learned a lot of things today. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, don't squirt
if you
off-duty
do,
cops.
and don't harass people.
If
on
you
the
know
pedal club.
someone who's struggling, or
Yes.
you're listening and you're struggling as well, there are options for you, and there is
Right.
hope. It is not the end, although it may feel like it's the end.
Right.
And we know people even very close to the show who are facing big issues.
Yeah.
Is it
Yes.
just so a DWI court? It's just alcohol? It's not other drugs,
It is not other drugs, but we do have a drug court, which is other drugs.
and
We also-
it has the same idea and the same.
It's the same
approach?
principles exactly. We have
All
a
right.
whole series of problem-solving courts. Veterans court for veterans who are struggling. We have a mental health court for people who are committing crimes because of mental health issues. We have a gift court for prostitutes who are trying to get out of that particular business. Homelessness. We have a lot of different courts.
Cool. All right.
We'll put all the links up on our Facebook.
Yes, let's do that.
I'll help Chuck get those all put together. They're easy to find.
Yeah.
We'd like to have you come back in. You're fun.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mark Casagrande will be in here. I guarantee you.
Mark, there is no bigger expert than Mark Casagrande. That guy knows it from the ground up.
He's got a cool name, Mark Casagrande.
Casagrande.
Viene conmigo.
Do you know what Casagrande? I know you know what it means.
Should own a restaurant.
It means big house.
Yeah, literally.
It means big house.
Literally.
Casagrande. Yeah.
All right, what do we got on the show tomorrow? Anything?
Tomorrow we
do
have
a guest.
Tim Wick from Fearless Labs. He's coming to promote his new show.
Oh,
again.
very nice. Mhm.
Yeah, and then, of course, we are pre-gaming big time for this upcoming week. Because remember, Thursday, 5 o'clock is our very first of our summer deck shows.
I got my sundresses out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
My
yeah.
sundresses out.
I am also, I shaved my chest hair in preparation for this.
Lord.
We're about the same size-ish. You
Yeah.
should stretch
Chuck
into
has
one
his own
line.
sundresses.
I'm a little
I
moody
get it.
right now, and my mother actually told me I need to get on a fitness
Your
program.
mother told you.
You need to get back on a fitness program. Look, 20
Thanks,
pounds
Mom.
in 2 months is not a lot, I don't think. I feel great.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Summer Deck Show, this Thursday, Chart House, Lakeville. Tell everyone, bring people. We're going to have giveaways, we hope. We are definitely going to have us.
Yes.
And it's going to lead into a live show at the Chart House. And we'll be there weekly, so make sure you check that out.
We leave you with some rock and roll by Sting.
You don't have to
Put on that red, red light.
Twin Cities Hit Show.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne, put on the red light. Don't put on the